Welcome to the second part of this two-part TTD series about multi-tenant architecture with Okta. In the last video, we discussed the concept of multi-tenant architecture as well as some of its benefits. In this video, we will talk about the Okta data model and how Okta works in more detail. When you sign up for Okta, a private data space is created for you. This is represented as an organization in Okta. As an Okta customer, you own your organization and everything in it. Application, directories, user groups, policies, and so on. The Okta data model is based on certain important concepts. Let's go through them one by one. Attributes. Entities inside Okta are called resources. Each Okta resource contains attributes such as name or created. Another example is a profile that allows you to store information about the object. For example, a user profile has an email attribute that contains the value of the email address. Links. These describe relationships or actions that you can take on a resource. For example, a self link on a user would reference itself. A deactivate link would shift the lifecycle state of the user. These are also part of entities. Directories. A top-level directory resource is available for the user base in your organization. Directories can either be hosted inside Okta or can be used to replicate outside user directories, as in the case of Active Directory or LDAP. Users. Your end users are modeled inside Okta as users. Users are associated with an email address and a username. The username must be unique, but it can be changed and often is. The email address doesn't need to be unique and often isn't. User uniqueness is determined by the Okta user ID. Groups. A group is made up of users found within a directory. You can think of it as a label applied to a set of users. A user can be a member of multiple groups. Groups are useful for representing roles, relationships, and can even be used for subscription tiers. Applications. An application holds information about the protocol with which it wants Okta to communicate policies for accessing the application, and most importantly, which users can use the application after identifying themselves. An application also contains information about the protocol it uses to communicate with Okta. App user. The relationship between an application and a user is stored in the Okta as an app user. This allows for mapping between profile values where the values are different. For example, application 1 may refer to a user's last name as last name and application 2 may refer to the last name as the surname. The app user stores the value as necessary for the application. Policies. A policy specifies the rules of how your organization behaves for certain actions. Policies have certain conditions that need to be met for actions to be applied. For example, your Okta organization has policies for how to gain access to an application and what the user needs to do to reset their password and to opt for multi-factor authentication. Authorization server. An authorization server in your Okta organization gives application the tokens that allow those applications to access resources. This is done with the protocols such as OAuth 2.0, OpenID Connect, and SAML. Collections. A resource that contains other resources is known as a collection. Collections support additional behavior such as pagination, sort ordering, and searching. So the user collection would contain an array of user resources. Now that the basics of Okta are clear, let's discuss how Okta works. Okta provides scalable authentication built into an application without the development overheads, security risk, and maintenance that comes from building it yourself. You can connect any application in any language or on any stack to Okta and define how the user should be signed in. Each time a user tries to authenticate, Okta will verify their identity and send the request information back to the app. Let's now look at some concepts related to how Okta works. The first is the Okta SDK and API. One can also use Okta's SDKs or API to connect your apps and users, configure rules, customize your sign-in page, and to monitor the services from Okta's built-in reports. Authentication, authorization, and social login. Okta allows your user to sign in with a username password or with their social accounts using pre-built signing components from Okta. After the user has signed in, you can retrieve their user profile to customize the UI based on their role and then apply authorization policies. API authentication. Okta can also be used to secure your APIs and application backends so that only authorized users and applications can call them. Define scopes, claims, and configure policies to determine who can have access to your API resources. SSO. You can have multiple applications connected to Okta. Okta handles the SSO for your users. User can simply sign in once and access your full suite of applications. Multi-factor authentication, that is MFA. Using Okta, you can enforce multi-factor authentication when user want to access sensitive data. Okta enables a second level of security for every signing through SMS, email, voice, biometrics, Okta Verify, and so on. It also configures policies to only enforce MFA based on location, network, and device context. For example, you can enforce MFA only if the user is signing in from a new device that is in a different country than your office. Federation. Okta could also federate your users using an existing enterprise directory. Okta allows user to sign into the various internal and third-party applications using their existing enterprise credentials or through Active Directory or LDAP servers. Miscellaneous. Consider that you have an app and you want to manage the users that access your application. You can use Okta's UI to add or remove users, modify profile and authorization attributes, and to quickly troubleshoot user sign-in issues. Okta gives you one place to manage your users and user data. User can be synced from variety of services, third-party apps, and user stores. So we have covered the Okta data model as well as a high-level explanation of how Okta works. Now let's discuss some key concepts of security as they relate to Okta. The first is Authentication API versus OAuth 2.0 versus OpenID Connect. There are three major kinds of authentication that you can perform with Okta. First, Authentication API. It controls access to your Okta org and applications. It provides operations to authenticate users, perform multi-factor enrollment and verification, recover forgotten passwords, and unlock accounts. It is the underlying API that the Okta Sign-in widget and Auth.js use under the hood. Next, the OAuth 2.0 protocol. It controls authorization to access a protected resource like your web app, native app, or API service. Lastly, the OpenID Connect protocol. It is built on the OAuth 2.0 protocol and helps authenticate users and convey information about them. It is also more opinionated than plain OAuth 2.0, for example, in its scope definitions. If you would like to work with the Okta API and control user access to Okta, then you should use the Authentication API. If you are interested in controlling access to your own application, use the Okta 2.0 and OpenID Connect protocols. The OAuth 2.0 protocol provides API security through scope access tokens. OAuth 2.0 enables you to delegate authorization, while the OpenID Connect protocol enables you to retrieve and store authentication information about your end user. OpenID Connect extends OAuth 2.0 by providing user authentication and SSO functionality. The next important concept we need to discuss is the authorization server. At its core, an authorization server is simply an engine for minting OpenID Connect or OAuth 2.0 tokens. An authorization server is also used to apply access policies. Each authorization server has a unique issuer URI and its own signing key for tokens to keep a proper boundary between security domains. It could be used for SSO for your OpenID Connect apps as well as to secure your APIs. The app uses the ID token that is written from the authorization server to know if a user is authenticated and to obtain the profile information about the user, such as their username or locale. OAuth 2.0 is used to authorize your access to an API. An access token is used by the resource server to validate a user's level of authorization or access. When using OpenID Connect or OAuth, the authorization server authenticates a user and issues an ID token and/or an access token. We can't mix the tokens between different authorization servers. By design, authorization servers don't have trust relationships with each other. Okta has two types of authorization servers: the org authorization server and custom authorization server. We will first discuss the org authorization server. It is a built-in authorization server. You use the org authorization server to perform SSO with Okta for your OpenID Connect apps or to get an access token for the Okta APIs. You can't customize the authorization server with regards to audience, claims, policy, or scopes. Additionally, the resulting access tokens issuer is HTTPS, your Okta org domain, which indicates that only Okta can consume or validate it. The access token can't be used or validated by your own applications. Next, a custom authorization server is used to create and apply authorization policies to secure your APIs. Within each authorization server, you can define your own custom OAuth 2.0 scopes, claims, and access policies to support authorization for your APIs. Okta provides a pre-configured custom authorization server called Default. It includes a basic access policy and a rule to quickly get you started. For simple use cases, this out-of-the-box custom authorization server is usually all that you need. If you are just looking to add SSO for your OpenID Connect based applications, you can use your org authorization server. If your application has requirements such as additional scopes, customizing rules for when to grant scopes, or you need additional authorization servers with different scopes and claims, then you need to create a custom authorization server. The table you can see on your screen describes which capabilities are supported by the custom authorization server and the Okta org authorization server. You may pause the video to take a closer look. Finally, we come to the policies. Policies help you to manage access to the applications and APIs based on some conditions like the user, group, device, location, time, and many more. It could also enable additional authentication steps like MFA to access a sensitive application. Policies are evaluated when a request is made. Rules in the policies define permissions that determine whether the request is allowed or denied. Policies are stored in Okta as JSON documents. There are many possibilities for policy use, such as create authorization rules based on complex logic using conditions, determine extra levels of authentication that must be performed before a specific Okta application can be accessed, maintain a list of allowed users and deny access based on multiple conditions, change the written scopes of the access token and add claims to it and to the ID token using inline hooks, notify other systems through an API when a sign-in happens in real time. Use the scopes of a token to look up user information in an external database or API, then add that data to the user's profile object. The following are the types of policies supported by Okta: Okta sign-on policy, app sign-on policy, Okta MFA policy, password policy, IDP discovery policy. With this, we come to the end of our video. If you have any questions about the multi-tenant architecture or need help with the Okta data model, servers, policies, secure connections, or any other Okta concept, please reach out to us. Finally, if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to immediately be notified of further interesting content. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.